Hey folks, Chris McLean back again, and on the show today, I have the wonderful Taylor McMaster from Dot and Company. They're a first of its kind client account management agency. They partner with growing digital agencies, maybe like a lot of you out there listening, to provide best-in-class client communication and project management. And they act as that liaison between the agency and their clients. The team at Dot & Co give the agency owner an opportunity to grow and scale their business by managing the day-to-day client communications so they doesn't have to worry about all of that stuff if it's not right in their wheelhouse. Super excited to talk to Taylor about this because, as we were saying before the show, I think this is a massive opportunity, a lot of potential in this space, given where the world's at. So, Taylor, thank you so much for dropping by the show. Great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Chris.
Pleasure. So take us back to, how did this all come about? Are you ex-agency? Did you just decide to start this off the back of, you sort of fell into this? How did Dot and Company all come about?
Yeah, great question. So a number of years ago, about 4 years ago, I started my own digital marketing agency. So I've been in marketing for a number of years, but classic corporate, wanted to leave, start my own thing. And I quickly determined that running my own business was something that I needed to do for me. So left my job and started my own digital marketing agency. And with that, I was, running Facebook ads, building landing pages, copywriting, social media management, everything in between. And I actually was kind of feeling lost in my agency. I just wasn't sure what niche I wanted to focus on and just kind of figuring it out. And I went on a mastermind trip to Fiji with Kat Howell's group and met a bunch of different agency owners. And on that trip is when I kind of realized that what I've always been really good at is what I should be focusing on. So after speaking with a bunch of different agency owners on that trip, I decided to pivot and specifically focus on account management, because what I realized was that us agency owners, in order for us to get out of the day-to-day, we need someone to take over the client communication so that we can focus on scaling, growing the brand, and doing sales. So what I did was just came home and started contracting with a number of different agencies to prove concept myself, to make sure that this would actually work for agencies. So after about 3 months of contracting myself, I had so much interest from other agency owners that we started to grow a team. And now we specialize in client account management for agencies, as well as training account managers and providing systems and processes for agencies on how to optimize the client experience.
Wow, amazing. Love that. And yeah, sort of as we were saying, I think it's a huge potential, particularly given, as you said, the fragmented nature of the world in general at the moment, but particularly with virtual teams. But as you're saying, a lot of agency owners tend to be, we come from being the craft, right? We're the artist, we're the designer, we're the coder. We don't necessarily have business skills, let alone sort of those client comm skills. Take a very, very introverted coder who's amazing at the craft and art of coding and development or web design, but maybe not so great at getting in front of clients and doing that aspect, and then having to manage that whole relationship. So what was the thing that sort of sparked you into, and what makes you great at doing that? How did you decide that that's what you're great at? You're just great talking to people. You've always been a people person. How did you sort of narrow down that that's the thing that you're great at and that's how you're going to help people?
Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of different things. Yes, I've always been a people person, but it always comes back to what gives me energy, I guess, in my day-to-day. So when I was running my agency and I was doing Facebook ads and building landing pages and email sequences, that would drain my energy and I would procrastinate that all day. And when it came to emailing clients and having calls and project managing and building systems, that's like what I wanted to do all day, every day. And so when it came to deciding to focus in this space, I just kind of thought, what is something that I'm naturally good at that I don't need someone to train me on, like Facebook ads or things like I knew how to do it. that I could help other agency owners. And what I realized as an agency owner myself, just kind of running the show myself, was that entrepreneurship can be quite lonely. And I wanted to give almost like a partnership feeling for the agency owners that I get to work with. So they felt like they had a partner who cared about their agency as much as they did and were there to help manage the client relationships. But at the end of the day, I was still running my own business. So I had that entrepreneurial spirit kind of checked off. But then I also got to work in agencies and learn from all different kinds of agencies. So it was really cool. And then what I ended up doing is really just attracting team members who were just like me. So you can imagine hiring inside the agency world for this role is very hard. So we actually have someone on our team now whose full-time job is hiring and training and finding really good people. But at the beginning, of course, it was really hard, but I ended up hiring people who were just like me. And a lot of people say don't do that, but it actually turned out because we're all very similar in the sense where we care so much about our clients that sometimes it's not always positive because it can affect, like we're working at night and we'll bend over backwards for our agency clients, but it's just naturally what makes us really good at what we do. And, things like they have to be marketing people. They have to understand strategy and digital marketing. They have to have the same written comms as I would expect. They have to just be like premium marketers to be able to do this role. So I think, finding really good people is hard, but when you attract people with certain skill sets, it definitely is awesome.
Yeah. It's a pretty distinct and pretty broad scoped role with that client management, particularly if you're sort of going into an agency that might have any type of client in any kind of niche. It might be a Facebook agency, it might be an SEO agency, it might be a graphic design agency. So really understanding all of that stuff and being able to essentially the client management, that's the business end of the business, is really important to manage to that business to maintain and manage and have that comms with the client. So are you really in there? Are you taking briefs? Are you sort of in that briefing part of the process, that everything from are you sort of in the initial meetings, in the strategy? Is it just all of the communications? So what parts are you sort of taking from the business owner?
Yeah, so it depends on kind of the agency, but generally, yes, we are there. A huge part of client management is the onboarding part. So we take it from the sales team and then we do all the onboarding. So we are preparing the briefs, scoping out the project, meeting with the client for the kickoff call. And then depending on the size of the agency and what the team looks like, sometimes the strategist will be on the call. Sometimes there is no strategist, so we are that. But yes, we're on the call, we're scoping out the project, and then we're managing the client relation, but also project managing after that. So we're making sure that, everything is on track, clients are updated, things are not falling behind, nothing's falling through the cracks. And then, of course, say we're working with a digital advertising agency, once the ads are live, that's, a huge milestone. But then there's also the client management that comes after that. So we are responsible for keeping the clients happy, sending reports, sending gifts, answering questions, sending what we call a daily pulse, which is communication to the client so that they feel like they're your only client. So just like little things like managing the relationship ongoing is definitely in our wheelhouse.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's a whole lot of work, and that's something that, again, I think agency owners, when you've come from a freelance or you're sort of a solopreneur and you start to hire a couple people and you get some bigger accounts and you're now rolling, that's a whole lot of work that you've now got to do on top of being the coder, being the designer, being the front of the business, being the sales, doing the taxes, doing the finance, and now you've also got to manage all of that communications. So unless you are at that scale that you can hire people in the agency specifically to handle that kind of BDM, account management, client management piece, and generally that can be a bunch of people too, right? I mean, back in the agency, the client comms team, you've got senior people, you've got account managers, you've got people that are taking the brief. Then you've got people on the back end that are more technical, that are taking sort of the technical part of the brief and briefing that into the team. Then you've got your reports teams that are going back and managing the accounts. And so that can tend to be a whole bunch of people. So how you talked about the difficulty of finding people to do that. Where do you tend to hire them out of? Are they coming out of bigger agencies where they have that sort of multi-touch point, big account experience? Are they solopreneurs? Are they entrepreneurial? Where do you generally find that type of talent coming from?
Yeah, so our team is actually a big mix. So we have some who've come from freelancing, we have some who've come from really big agencies, and some that have come from kind of three-person agency show. So it kind of really depends. What we're really hiring for is the soft skills. How personable are they? Are they kind of vibing with us at Dot? Because of course we want to have a really great culture internally as well. And then of course their agency experience. So how many clients have they managed in the past? What kinds of clients? What does their communication look like? What kind of marketing knowledge do they specialize in? Because as you can imagine, even from a YouTube agency to a Facebook ads agency are quite different. So we're kind of looking at a number of different things, but I would say like our team is quite diverse in terms of experience.
And they're finding that you're hiring people that have that kind of, they can do a bunch of different things. Like they can speak YouTube, they can speak Facebook, they can speak LinkedIn, they can speak TikTok, they can speak video, graphics, content. Are they kind of, I guess, like Renaissance people where they're multi-skilled, they can do a bunch of things? Or are you hiring specialists?
Yeah, so we hire more so specialists. And then a big piece of our hiring process is seeing if they're a quick learner or not. And so we want people who can kind of jump into an agency and learn whatever it is that they're doing. So, for example, I knew absolutely nothing about YouTube ads until I worked in a YouTube agency, but you just have to be able to figure it out really quickly. And I think, that's a huge part of why hiring can be so difficult in the agency world, is because you don't know who you're hiring unless you have a really robust hiring system. You really need to hire people who you can trust, who have the same values as you, and that they're quick learners and that they're willing to learn. So that's something that we really look for.
Yeah, I imagine there must be an extra layer of pressure there as well, right? Because you're representing another person's business to that business's customer base. You're that first face where you're representing that business to their line of credit, to their line of income. So does that play in? That must play into you. Who you bring into your team and who you can trust as well.
Yeah, we are very, very picky in terms of who we bring in. And even before we would even consider hiring someone, they have to be all personally trained by us. They go through a very lengthy training process before they're even hired. So yes, definitely it's something that we take very seriously. We know that these agencies are putting their clients and their business in our hands. So, we have a whole team of people here who, not only client account managers, but we have managers who are supporting those people and then of course making sure that they're doing a good job. So it's a lot of layers, you're right. And but it really comes down to having great people.
Yeah. Yeah, super cool. So for agencies that are out there that are listening, that think that this might be what I need, I'd love some help in that. This isn't my strength. I just want to double down on what I do well and free up that space where somebody else like yourself can come in and manage that client aspect. How do you tend to interface with the agency? Do you interface with the client? Do you interface as part of the agency, or do you come in as a third party? How does that tend to, or does that sort of shift with different your different clients? How does that interface tend to happen for? Do you represent the client, like send emails from their domain, that sort of thing, or are you coming in sort of as a third party piece?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we 100% white label. So we come into your agency, part of our onboarding process. Shocking, we have a full onboarding process. Part of that is granting us a email address for your agency, assigning us to all your project management softwares, Google Drive, everything like that. We are 100% inside your agency. And also we add onto our LinkedIn, that we work at the agency, so that as clients are searching our names and things like that, we
Yeah, right.
are a huge piece of your age. And it does feel like we're a full-time member of your
Mm,
team. It's really important to us, that we feel a part of your team as much as you feel like we're on yours, and to your clients as well. It's really important. So yeah, we white label, and to your clients, it looks like we are 100% working for your agency.
yeah. LinkedIn profiles, I hadn't considered that, but I guess that's super important too.
Yeah,
That if they go and look up Taylor and you don't work at that agency on LinkedIn, it might feel a bit weird.
exactly.
But maybe that's changed a bit in 2020 and 21, where everybody's got 3 roles going on at the moment. Everyone's doing a bit of everything. But
Yeah.
there must be so many pieces that are visible to clients in so many places now. That's a whole other layer of complexity there. And again,
It
something
is.
that the agency owner tends to have to manage themselves, unless they can get someone to come in and help them. Is there a particular type of agency that you tend to find sort of needs this service more than others? Is it full service? Is it more specialized boutique? Is it digital versus graphic? Is there, I mean, I think everyone could
Yeah.
use this, but do you find that there's what's the type of agency owner? Is that really that person that's really the craft? They're great at what they do, but they're not good at the communications piece? Or is it somebody that just doesn't have time to do that stuff?
Yeah, good question. So most of the agencies that come to us, at least, are in the digital advertising space. So they, have clients that are month over month retainers, or performance based. And,
Right.
a huge piece of this is onboarding and then the continuous client management. So I would say most of our clients are in the digital advertising space. However,
Right.
we do have some in the full service and creative space. That's kind of my background. So I love when we get a full service creative client. But yeah, I think, like you said, when we're going into an agency and who are the people that need this, I think it really depends on what your goals are as an agency owner and the size.
Right.
So what I always say is that for agencies, your clients, it's so personal to you. So as long as you're managing your clients day to day, it's always going to be personal, and it's always going to be a stressor, I think, in the business. And I
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
that I still have some clients from when I was running my own digital agency, and those client relationships are so different to me than the clients that I absolutely adore in my agencies, but it's so different.
Yeah.
And
They're yours. You got that emotional connection in
oh
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they email me any kind of feedback, I'm like, oh, I take offense to it because it's
It's
my
different.
work. Yeah, it's my
Yeah.
work
Mm.
versus as a client account manager working inside of an agency, we're
Mm.
kind of that buffer, we're that filter to make sure that the
Yeah. Right.
agency owner isn't, reacting or isn't getting all the messages from the client. So
Mm.
I think, as an agency owner, it really comes down to what your goals are. If you want to keep your agency boutique and just have a handful of clients that you personally manage and it's happy and that's great, that's awesome. It doesn't mean that you have to get out of the client management. But if you are looking to scale and you're looking to bring in a number of clients and you kind of want that time freedom to
Mm.
scale the business, work on sales, work on the brand, then absolutely, I think it's a really great investment to bring in a team member who can help support you.
Mm. Yeah. I think that for me and the work I do, that deciding, leaning into your strengths, exactly like you've done with your business, where you've worked out, here's all the stuff I could do, but I'm great at this thing, so that's what I'm going to focus on. I think that's where a lot of agency owners do go wrong, because they feel like that connection you have to your clients, they have that connection to the business, and they have to do everything because they've done everything in the past. And I have to design, I have to do the sales, I have to do the delivery, I've got to do the fulfillment, I've got to manage the clients because they're mine, I've got to do the finance because only I can understand it. and you end up doing everything, but kind of doing everything a bit shit because you're not really great at all that stuff.
Yeah.
So being willing to let go of that stuff and go, no, actually, I'm great at sales, or I'm great at web design. That's what I'm going to do as the owner. I'm going to focus on that and the strategy. And either I'm going to hire in an account team, or I'm going to outsource that to someone like Taylor that can come in and take that headache off of my plate so I can just dial down and do the stuff that I do really well. I think that is critical, really critical. So if you, having somebody like you that can fulfill that massive client comms part. And I love what you said about being that filter. I think that distraction management for owners is massive as well. If you're, every time something pings, right, and it's a client demand and it's a change request and it's a this and a that, and you ping, ping, ping all day, you'll never get anything done.
Yeah. So or then you start micromanaging.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No.
So having that filter of, hey, here's the daily digest, make these calls, follow up these things. Is that something? So how do you work back to the agency owner? You sort of have that daily pulse that you're doing with the client. Do you have something similar with the agency owner where you're saying, here's the filter, here's the stuff that you actually need to get involved in and do today or this week?
Yeah, so it depends on every agency, because you can imagine we have some agencies where the owner is still very involved in the day-to-day, so they know what's going on, but we're kind of managing the relationship and the projects and kind of the day-to-day. And then I have some agencies where the owner, you talk to them once every 2 weeks and they don't want to be involved at all. I call them the runaway CEO. Yeah. So for them, for the people who want to run away, generally it's a case-by-case basis. So this individual doesn't really want to know anything to do with the clients. They just want to have the client dashboard up to date, and that's what we manage on a daily basis. So there's notes, there's high-level overview of where we're at. And then, of course, there's going to be things like every couple days where we say, hey, like, I need your final sign off on this, or I need your decision on this. And then we can message them at that point. But they know that if we message them, they need to respond. It's not just like a, hey, like, this person might email us today. It's a legit task. Yeah. So we kind of manage it agency owner by agency owner and what what they want, I guess, because at the end of the day, we are working for them. So it depends on what they need.
Yeah. I think that's super useful though. So if I can go down from having 20 emails to respond to it, or 100 emails down to, here's the 2 or 3 things that you actually need to get done today for your clients. I think that's going to take a massive load off. And again, as the agency owner, let me focus on whether that's, as you say, running away or working on the business, being focused more on the strategy and the JVs and the partnerships or the sales or whatever that part is that I'm going to dedicate myself to.
Exactly.
And limit that responsiveness, right? I know if I get a message from Taylor, I better respond to it and get it done, because it's in the important basket, right? It's urgent and important.
Oh, she needs me.
Yeah. Rather than dealing with all of the unimportant stuff that can sort of dredge up from clients on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, totally.
So in terms of, this might be a deeper question, but in terms of if I was looking to essentially hire an account team, right, and fulfill the services that you provide, are you in terms of a pricing? Are you an equivalent sort of a price if I was going to go out and hire 5 account managers and build my team out and have those resources in house versus bringing you in sort of as a partner? Is that how does that generally work out for the agency in terms of a price?
Yeah. So we have different options. We have full service where we come in and we're actually a client account manager for you, fully outsourced. Right. Or we do training where some agencies already have a team and maybe they're not performing as well, or they need to level up their skills, or they need better systems and processes. We do that as well. So in terms of our full service, pricing would be very similar to hiring someone in-house. It depends on kind of where you're at in the world, but kind of equivalent to the US market. And then our training is a monthly training program where you can work one-on-one with one of our client account managers, get trained, get all of our systems, processes, training programs for your team to level up.
Yeah, awesome. But I suppose instead of hiring one person, you're hiring a team, right? You're getting that
Exactly.
expertise and a few people that are going to be 100% dedicated to doing that thing for you.
Exactly. And a huge part that we focus on is we have a team of client account managers who work with tons of agencies and hundreds of clients. So when we have a question like iOS changes that are happening, we're talking internally about how we're communicating that to clients, what things are happening. We need help with this. What do you think of this email? Before we're going to the agency owner. So if we get an angry client, our team is going to come to our team first at Dot before kind of bugging the agency owner, or they just might need a gut check on something. And that kind of serves as another filter as well. So yeah, you're right. You're not just hiring one person who you're bringing into your agency, you're hiring a whole team of account managers kind of who have their back.
Yeah. And you hiring that at the coalface experience, like you're saying, you're probably already troubleshooting stuff before it becomes a problem for me, or you've dealt with it before in 10, 20 other agencies that have had a similar issue. So you're not trying to figure it out on the fly. You've probably dealt with it before. Your team has that experience. Is okay, we know what to do here. We've been through this before. You can deal with it quicker. You can make that turnover and that process of problem solving happen a lot quicker, I imagine.
Oh yeah. Yep. A lot. And, it's a lot of really great learnings come from working in multiple agencies, right? Because if Emma on our team is working in a LinkedIn agency and then one of our clients in an agency I'm working on brings on a LinkedIn client, I have Emma who can just help me, versus me having to kind of figure it all out on my own. So it's really great that we kind of bring positive learnings across agencies. So optimizing systems and processes or just overall learnings, it's really awesome.
Yeah. So you're buying that network effect, you're getting that network experience, like you said. You've always going to have a connection into something that's either already solved that problem, or you've got an expert that can come in and sort of add expertise and assist with something specific like a LinkedIn client, rather than having to bring on and onboard and bring in a whole new resource just to manage, to train yourself and bring in another account manager just for that account. You can use the same team who can leverage that network experience. I think they're super, super powerful. And I think for agencies that are looking to either hand off part or all of that part of the business, I think this is really, 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 really exciting and really interesting. If people are also excited about this and they want to find out more about you, they want to come and work with you, where's the best place for them to come and find you?
Yeah, definitely our website. So dotandcompany.co. Definitely reach out, see what we have to offer, training or full service, or we have a shop as well if you just want to download some of our resources. And then, of course, reach out if you have questions, if this is a fit for you or not. And we'd be happy to jump on a call and kind of work through if we could help. Yeah,
amazing. Go check out Dot & Co. If you're listening at home. Check out dotandcompany.co and all those links. I've got Taylor's Facebook and LinkedIn on there as well, so you can connect over there. I'll drop those in the show notes as always, and you can click on those links and go check her out. Check out Dot & Company. So I think if you're looking to free up some time, if you want to get focused on the stuff that you do well, this is an amazing service that can definitely help you in a massive part of your business, which is that client communications. If you're not dealing well with your clients, if you're not getting the briefs in, if you're not briefing your clients, if you're not onboarding them, looking after them, speaking to them in the right way, in a way that supports them, major part of your business that can go really wrong really quickly. So I appreciate that you exist out in the world, Taylor, and that you can help people. And as you said, you're pretty global now as well, right? You got some team down here in Australia, in Melbourne. You got team in the US and in Canada. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
Amazing. That's right. So wherever you are in the world, Taylor can
We've got you.
Drop in and help you out. Yep, they got you back. Amazing. Thank you so much. Really interesting conversation. I think it's very, very beneficial for a lot of people that want to free up that time, free up some resource, get this stuff done and managed with that, that effectiveness of having a network that's got you back. So
thank you, Chris, for having me on. Yeah.
My absolute pleasure. Hope everyone got a lot of value out of that as I did, and we'll see you on the next one. See you then. Thanks, Taylor.